Life in my 20s was
On this episode,
definitely ghetto-fied, but honestly, I would not trade it for the world because I am just forever grateful for all the life lessons that came with it. And it just made me to be a stronger person from it. So I'm turning 30 on February 16th. Am I sad? Not really. I'm not really sad. I'm actually really excited to turn 30. And I just feel like it's a new era to embrace. And it's like, what you being sad about? You getting a little older. I feel like it's an exciting journey. And I just want to see what the 30s is going to bring because there's going to be a whole new outlook on life compared to my 20s. So much happened in my 20s, and that's what I'm going to tell you about. I feel like everybody has had like crazy experiences. You've learned so many different things, and you were able to learn so much about yourself in your 20s. So I just feel like everyone has a story of what they went through, and that's what I want to do is share my story. But of course, this time we are switching it up because we're going to do some skincare. Because as y'all can see, my skin is like very dry right now. It wouldn't be right if I did not do a makeup story time. So that's what we're going to do today. So buckle up because we have a lot to unlock. You're starting with the skincare routine. And in my skincare routine, I always use Cetaphil. When I turned 18, I basically moved out of my parents' house and went to Missouri State. And then at 19, that's when I moved back home. That's where my 20s started. When I had turned 20 in my parents' house, I was actually about to move out again. And I had got accepted into Georgia State University. This is in 2014. And I had got accepted into Georgia State. And I was so ready to get out of my parents' house again. So then that way I can go ahead and live in the dorms again like I did at Missouri State and just have some sort of freedom. So you just feel like you can't do what you want to do at your parents. So that's why I was just like, yeah, I got to move out again. Like living with your parents, well, particularly with my mom, she was all about curfew. And I'm like, girl, I am not about to be in the house by 11 o'clock p.m. I'm trying to be out all night. And that's what prompted me to go and apply to Georgia State even more, even though I had to switch schools to go to Georgia State because I was still taking like online classes with Missouri State. And then that's when I switched to Georgia State. I decided to just go ahead and apply for the dorms and I ended up getting in. It wasn't the dorm that I wanted. It was basically the lofts. It looked a mess. I did not like the lofts. And the reason I didn't because it didn't have carpet. It was an old type like hotel thing. And I'm just like, how y'all gonna give this to us? Like y'all could have at least put some carpet in. Like it looked a mess. Like I'll never forget moving in and my parents moving me in and they're just like, what the heck is this? Eventually I just didn't even care because I was just like, I'm out my parents' house. I can do what I want. I can really feel like an adult. I don't have to feel like I'm being baby. That's why I was just like, I gotta get out of my parents' house. And that's why just being able to be on my own, even if it's at a dorm that I don't even care about, it just felt good that I can come home and just feel at peace and can come home whenever I wanted to instead of having to deal with like a curfew from my mom talking about, oh, you got to come in at 11 o'clock. Girl, please. I use CeraVe for my toner. I don't even have to use much. And let's go ahead and do that. So I didn't have like a meal plan at Georgia State because the dorm itself was already a lot of money. And so I basically had to apply for food stamps and I got denied.
I was like, how you gonna deny me
for some food. Like, I need to have food while I'm in the dorm.
And they basically needed to see proof that I was actually working, and they needed to see how many hours I was getting. And that was like a tough month because all I was living off of was some noodles and some Tostino's pizza. And I was like, this is crazy. I'm like, oh, all I got is noodles and Tostino's pizza because that's all I could afford. And, with your parents, they want to help you out as much as they can, but they also like, well, you wanted to move out. You could have been eating at our house, but you decided that you wanted to move out and be an adult. So you got to do adult things. So that's when I was just like, you know what? This is what adulting is. I'm going to figure it out because that's what all I've heard. Like with adulting, that's what you do. You just figure it out. So I figured it out and I ended up getting the food stamps after they looked at my hours and was like, okay, well, yeah, she doesn't make a lot and we can give her food stamps. I tell y'all, I got those food stamps. I was so happy. I was like, time to go to the store, time to rack up. And that's what I did. I didn't even want to see another noodle. I didn't want to see another Tostino's pizza. I got me some healthy vegetables. I got me different items that will boost me up while I'm in college. So then that way I'm not feeling all slumpish. Just literally after classes, I would have to go to work at night at Marshall's because I was working the night shift and then don't get off until probably, well, the crazy thing is the store closes at 9:30 p.m. And then that's when we have to clean up for a whole hour. And then I don't get out until 11 o'clock. And by the time I get home, it's almost 1 o'clock. And then I have class maybe 8 a.m., 9:30 a.m. I will be so exhausted. And don't let it be that I just got off work and then got to go home and then study. That used to be the worst thing. Like I tell anybody, if you can survive the struggle in college, and everyone knows that particular struggle of not having that much money because these jobs, they're not really paying you that much, okay? You can barely cover a light bill, But it was just something to have so then that way I have money in my pocket and making sure that I'm able to cover my expenses that I have, including books, any other expenses that I may have. So it still was helpful and it still got me through what I needed to. And then once you stack those checks up, as long as you know how to budget, you stack those checks up, you're good to go. So yeah, if you can survive college, you can survive anything because that struggle is something serious. So now we're going to use the Cetaphil moisturizing lotion. And when I tell y'all, I love this lotion because it is so moisturizing. They live up to the name. I don't put that much on, but I just feel like I just came from a facial once I put the lotion on. As me being 20 years old, of course, I just feel like that was the age of really just being like, oh, I'm really going to do whatever I want to do, even though I was doing that at 18. But this really amplified it. I was just like, hey, I'm going to do something for New Year's and I'm going to have a good old time. And yeah, that was a wild night. I can't go into details about it because I'm not going to do that. But I will say that I had a very good time, but it was very risky. And I just feel like every time I think about that moment, I'm just like, I really was living life on the edge. When you enter your 20s, you just feel so invincible. You feel like you can do whatever. Having that mentality can lead you down the wrong path. And it's not like the choices that I was making was extra crazy, but it could have led to, certain things happening. And I'm just glad that, none of those situations escalated that far. But it's just every time I think about the life over my 20s, I'm like, wow. The early part of my 20s, I was a wild woman. When I turned 21, I really felt like I was just like, you know what? I'm going to go and get my nose pierced. I got my nose pierced on my birthday. And I know that was going to be a big thing with my parents. Why are you over here doing all of this? Because I did already have, my navel pierced. So it was just like, oh, now you're getting your nose pierced. And so that moment took place and they did not like it at first. But they're just like, well, she's growing up. If this is what you want to do, then cool. For me, when I turned 21, the only thing that I cared about was I could finally go in the store and buy me some liquor. And it's so sad that that's what we think about when we turn 21. So it felt so good that I could order a drink, show my ID. I was really excited to show my ID. Like, here, I'm 21. Like, you can't say that, I'm too young. Later that night, my friends, they threw like a party for me and my other friend, my roommate at the time. And we just had like a good night and stuff. But the drinking caught up with me because because I've been drunk before, but that was a really crazy night. I will not get into the details, but it was pretty crazy. And just having a hangover the next day, I was just like, yeah, I I got to slow it down. Once you enter into adulthood, you're just like, yeah, I get to do whatever I want. I'm paying my own bills. So I don't need nobody telling me what I need to do. I was just more so like, I ain't got to have nobody tell me what to do. I could do whatever at any time. If I want to stay out or go to a party, I can. And really what's so crazy is that I didn't even go to many parties because like I had to work at night. So it kind of backfired on me because it was just like, oh, I was supposed to be doing all these things. But then you end up realizing, like, well, I got responsibilities. I got to have some money. So I didn't really get to go to too many parties. But when I did, yeah, I definitely cut up. But just realizing, like, oh, wow. So this is what adulthood is. Like, oh, got to get a little serious because, like, it's all about a balance. But you're trying to find that balance. Like everyone doesn't step into their 20s and be like, oh yeah, I just got it all together. I have everything balanced out. Like, no, that stuff takes time. It takes practice. At 21, I moved back home with my parents because I couldn't afford the tuition no more as far as like with the dorms and stuff. Like I always had some level of what was a priority for me. And I just knew that if I missed work, I know that I'm not going to have money for that week. So that's why I was just like, well, it's either go to a party or am I going to work? And I always chose work. And so my roommate was just like, girl, you always working. Come on, let's go to a party. And I'm like, no, I gotta go. I gotta work. And then, the other part of it, I had to study, had to do homework and all that stuff.
That was honestly devastating having to move back home with my parents because it was just like, now I'm back to the rules thing, especially when you were just so used to, freedom.
Not being able to listen to nobody, hearing about no curfew and all that stuff. So it was kind of sad having to go back home, but it saved me so much more money. And I just knew, like, okay, like once I move out again, like that's going to be the last time. I'm not moving back home after that. So I met this fine man at 21, which is my man, my hubby. And so I was 21 going on 22. And y'all know the whole story of it. If you don't, please go back and watch our love story. I've already explained where we met and everything. Like everything happened within that year of us being together. And the big thing was that I did not get into the respiratory therapy program. And that was the main thing I had been working on since freshman year, that I was going to be a respiratory therapist. Well, come to find out, I didn't get into the program because I didn't pass the test. So they told me that I would have to wait a whole nother year before I can apply again to the program. I just remember just being so like devastated and everything, like, because things just felt like it was falling apart. Like, especially when you're in your early 20s, you like ready to get out of college. No, nobody want to be in college forever and ever, amen. And he was there for me the whole time. He consoled me and he just told me things will get better. Just got to figure out what do you want to do next. That's what I ended up doing. I had to do some research on what other majors that they had that was health related. And that's when I saw clinical health informatics, and I did my further research on it because I didn't know what clinical health informatics was. And once I did my research on it, I was just like, okay, I'm going to go down this path. I looked at the curriculum and I realized, okay, I can tackle this. Ended up applying for the clinical health informatics program, and your girl got in, and I was so happy. All of that happened and it was pretty stressful, but I was just so happy that I had my man to be there for me and give me encouraging words and just being able to see the journey from that time when I didn't get into the respiratory therapy program to getting into the clinical health informatics program, and him just seeing how I just flourished and did so well in the program and ended up graduating at 24 from that program. He loved my determination, and that's just how I am. If I done made it this far, I'm already in debt anyways. Might as well just keep going. It's just like, I gotta make something happen from all of this because I'm graduating from college. Like, I want this to be a milestone underneath my belt, and it did happen. So I'm 24, and this is in 2018. I just graduated college. So now I'm engaged. I graduated with my bachelor's degree. I got proposed to, so I just know a job is coming for me next. Girl, please. I really thought that after graduating college, I was going to instantly get a job. I'm like, yeah, these are the next steps. I'm finally going to be able to have my big girl job. Life after college was very stressful for me because I was still working at Marshall's. And I was ready to elevate. I was ready to get an apartment. I really wanted to switch jobs because my manager at the time, she was very nasty. Literally had a conversation with her that I needed hours, and she was only giving me 2 days on the schedule. I'm like, girl, what am I supposed to do with that? I was just like, all right, Kamara, you're just going to keep putting in applications. You got to get away from this because I don't want to be stuck in the retail industry forever and ever. Amen. That's not even my calling. I don't want to do that. And I'm like, I have a whole bachelor's degree. Like, I better use it. Okay. I just kept putting the applications in. And then all of a sudden, I get a phone call, I think in November. My crazy tell self, I did not answer the phone. And so the man had left me a voicemail since November, and I didn't see the voicemail until I think like December. So nonetheless, I called the recruiter back, and then I was able to do like the interview with him. And then that's when he was like, okay, well, you'll be able to meet with the hiring manager after the holidays because a lot of managers, they, of course, want to spend time with their families. So I did the interview with the hiring manager in January 2019, and it went pretty well. And then I had to go to the job site to do the other interview.
They ended up contacting me the next day, and I got the job, and I was so excited. I was like, I'm about to get up out of Marshall's. Yeah.
I did pick up a new item for Fenty Beauty, and this is the Diamond Bomb. How many carats? I've been wanting this for so long. This is going to be my favorite thing to use. It's like eyeshadow or just using it as like a highlighter for my cheekbone. I entered into my big girl job the end of January of 2019, and it was the most remarkable feeling.
I was able to stack up money to get myself an apartment, and your girl moved out at 25. And I told myself, I'm not moving back in no more. That's it. Like, we're done.
September 2019, I moved in, and that was a great feeling as well. I just felt like so many new things was happening for me. It had everything that I needed. It was a 1 bedroom, 1 bath. I just wanted to start off small. I was so close to my job because me having to go from my parents to Buckhead every day, that was always going to be a journey. And I was just tired of that. And that's more reason why I had to move out. Then you realize, like, oh, this is even more of adulting. Like, you feel like you're in the same routine. You go to work, you come home, you get a shower, you eat, go to sleep. And I kind of got a little sad and depressed from it because it was just like, it's the same routine. And with me, I get bored with certain things easily, but I know that I have to have, a job in order to be able to pay my bills. Then the pandemic hit, and we had to go remote. Now I don't have to get up like every day and go to the office. I can just work from home and stuff. And I actually enjoyed it. So I cannot forget to tell y'all this. When you go and furniture shop and bedroom shop, you realize, like, man, this stuff is not cheap. And knowing me, I'm not like, well, I'm going to say it. I am kind of luxury, kind of glamour, especially for your apartment. You want it to look nice. Getting my furniture, that was a really big girl step because it's like that was even more money I had to spend. And I was able to pay off the bills for those particular items, and it just felt amazing because it was just like this was another big girl decision, as I say, and I was just proud of myself for even being able to pay it off.
It just felt good to come home to your apartment where you just have a sense of peace and you don't have to listen to nobody. It's just you in silence.
Once you hit the second half of your 20s, you just really want peace. I did everything in my early part of my 20s, such as going to college, such as graduating, so that it could set up for the second half of my 20s. So then that way I could be working in my career field. I just know, again, this is my journey, but I didn't even care to go to the club anymore. I remember the first half of my 20s, I was like, yes, I want to go to the club all the time. And then you realize, like, girl, forget the club. Like, I'd rather go to a poetry club or I'd rather go read a book. It's just a whole shift from your early 20s to your second half of your 20s where you're just like, certain things I can't do anymore or I don't want to do anymore. And I just want to find things that bring me calmness. And then also with the second half of your 20s, you just really want to spend more time with family members. You realize that certain family members are getting older. And that's when you really truly realize that life is short and that you need to spend time with those that really, that you love and care about. Even with friendships, I keep like a close circle. Like I know some people, they have so many friends and that's fine. That's really cool. But for me, I just really like to keep it close knit, have those type of friends, and just knowing that I still have the same friends from high school that I met and we are still here and we've gone through all of everything together as an adult. It's really good to have those type of friendships because, that's longevity and just realizing who are your real friends and who is there for you. And I'm not just saying like for birthday events or different events that I may have, but it's just made so like just really being there for you. Like when you really down and out, who can you call? And that's when you know that you can call your best friend and tell them everything that's going on and they're willing to stop everything that they're doing and check on you. It's always good to have your friends that you can talk to and you can vent to. In the early part of your 20s, you want everybody to be your friend. And then you realize what your parents were saying, that everybody ain't your friend. And it's so true, boy, because everybody is not your friend. Like, people are just there for a season and then they disappear or they end up doing something weird. And I'm like, yeah, you can go ahead and stay over there with that weirdness. To me, I just feel like life in your 20s is just really all about healing. And healing as far as going to the people that have hurt you or forgiving those that have hurt you and finding ways to where you have peace within yourself. Really what has helped me in my 20s is affirmations. And it has been so helpful on my journey to really speak positive words into myself. Everything that you go through, you will get through. And I'm just like, wow. No one really talks about how hard the 20s is. Like transitioning from your parents, them telling you what to do, to now you're making all of those life decisions. And that's what I came to realize, like, wow, adulthood is something else. And definitely life does be lifing. But at the end of it all, you get through it, you grow through it, and you're going to make it to the other side. I'm just happy with who I am coming out of my 20s because I've learned so much about myself. I'm just really extremely proud of the woman that I've become. I've had so many different life lessons and just so many different experiences that could have broken me, but they didn't. They did not break me. I'm still here and I'm just happy with the person that I am. And it took a lot of healing to get here, of being happy and feeling like I'm beautiful, because at a point in time I didn't feel beautiful. I didn't feel like confident in my body or stuff like that. But now, oh, honey, like the things that people used to say back then about my body or about my face and stuff like that, like, I don't even care what you say now. Like, all that stuff doesn't even faze me anymore. You can tell me that I'm ugly, even though I know I'm not, because I have literally came to terms of saying to myself that I'm beautiful regardless. I don't need a man to tell me. I don't need my parents to tell me that I'm beautiful. As long as I know that I'm beautiful, that's all that matters. I also realized that you have to be open to change. Like, there's going to be so many different things happening to your life at once. So I used to not be receptive to change. I want everything to stay the same, but you have to realize that there are going to be a lot of changes in your life, and some of them are out of your control. So what do? You have to adapt. So, like, the main one that really was nerve-wracking was getting married, but I made it through, and I'm still here, y'all. So really, I just feel at peace with myself, and I'm just going to bring in this 30th birthday, just being happy and excited and just blessed to be able to celebrate another birthday. And this is the major milestone, so I'm going to turn up. It's Aquarius season, and of course, I don't know what I'm doing for my birthday. It's always like that. I'm just not going to stress this year. Like, I just can't. I don't have the capacity to stress like how I usually do, so I'm just going with the flow. So y'all know that Valentine's Day is right around the corner. And so definitely it would not be right if I did not show you at least one of the outfits that I'm thinking about wearing for Valentine's Day. We have made it to the final look, and what is it giving, y'all? Because I am loving the makeup. Like, I'm really loving how it just matches with the dress. Let me know if you love this makeup look, because I am deeply obsessed and I want to know your thoughts on it. This is the dress that I am thinking about wearing on Valentine's Day. So let me give you a little spill on it. I ordered this dress from Fashion Nova. Of course, Fashion Nova always have all the cutest dresses. And definitely if you're looking for that nice V-Day dress, they will hook you up. Look, I'm going to give you a back view. Like, do you not see how it has the body looking good? It has me all snatched up, okay? Definitely I ordered a small in it. I wanted the overall vision to have some sort of silver in it, so that's why I decided to go with these heels, because they have like silver accents. And it also matches my makeup, because that's what I was going for. And then the purse is from Forever 21. Let me know in the comments if this is something that is Valentine's Day worthy. I really have fun going down memory lane on what all I went through in my 20s. And I'm just cannot wait to see what more memories I unlock in my 30s. And let's get it. Until next time, Kimmy babes.